Guys, today is about forgiving the past. Letting go of the past. And oftentimes what stops us is our fear and anger from these experiences that's happened for us in the past. Say we hate someone, we believe a certain thing about like someone. And it's just about really feeling it and going into it and letting go. Letting go of these negative experiences that you have so you can go forward and create an amazing future. Guys, I really hope you enjoy. Remember to share the podcast and tell people about it and comment. I would love that so much. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy.
So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be? Or in other words, conquer their dyslexia. That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast.
What's happening, guys? I hope we're doing alright, and I hope we're doing good. Today, I want to talk to us about forgiving our past. Forgiving our past, possibly negative experiences where people have treated us so badly, or people have done things to us that are so awful. And I think one really big step in conquering your dyslexia and really to take responsibility of your dyslexia and moving forward and creating your new, basically your new dyslexia, redefining your dyslexia and getting rid of basically your perceived limitations, is to forgive the past. Forgive what's holding you back, because what stops people from making progress, what stops people from really moving forward is there's two things. Is this in the moment? Two things are fear and anger. We feel fear and anger, and oftentimes we can feel fear and anger because we're unsure what's going to happen, because we're scared, because of this because we have experiences in the past that was not pleasant, that was not nice, and they bring back these emotions that can make us feel fearful about failing and doing something wrong, or angry at everyone else why I haven't got it wrong. And if you really think about it, fear and anger are so strong emotions, and oftentimes we can use different labels to describe it, can't we? I'm frustrated, or I'm annoyed. But really, fear and anger is such key stones, like key emotions in what holds people back. It's fear and anger. Like if you become overweight of angry, or if you're so fearful to take action to do things, it's so powerful. Like we're so scared sometimes of the fear to telling people that we're dyslexic, to opening up about it, to be honest about it. And we have all this fear, or we have all this anger that I didn't get the help I was supposed to at school, or that this person didn't support me, and we're covered with anger. But these emotions, if you hold on to them, they keep us from really conquering our dyslexia. They keep us from really discovering our true identity, basically our true possibilities for what we can do. And when I talk about forgiving the past, I want to discuss things where, if you look at great people in history who have done such an amazing things, people like Martin Luther King. His message wasn't to fight all the white people, fight all the white people and prove that we have rights and we can do this. No, Martin Luther King moved saying, I had a dream, and his dream was equality for everyone. It wasn't I'm white, you're wrong. It wasn't let's have this and you're bad, so therefore I'm going to act in anger and I'm going to act in anger. He says let's start basically let's start over and everyone's equal. There's no difference between me and you, and everything's good and everything's happy. So that makes sense. And the same with Nelson Mandela, a great person, a person that changed African history, and his story. Think about him, for example. He was growing up, and he was a lawyer. He was a lawyer, and then really bad things happened. He could see in the lawyer really bad things happened, where white people, basically white policemen, would beat to death a black person, and it was and it was so awful. What's it called again? In the court, they said in the court that the judge was basically saying that this person that got beaten to death by police officers said it was died of natural causes or whatever, even though the hospital report was different. And this person, Martin Luther King, was so annoyed and started doing protests and started shouting about people, saying we have to fight back, we have to do this, we'll keep on fighting, we've been quiet for 50 years, we have to do this, being quiet doesn't work. And then what happened? He got locked in prison for, basically, it was a lifetime sentence, but it was like 20-something years he was in prison for. And when he left prison, you know what his message was? His message was equality. His message was not to fight. He wanted to get the vote for his people. But for his people, like the black people. But his way to say it is like, let's not fight against these people. Let's come together and do this thing together in harmony. Okay, and that's what his message. When I say the word forgive, I don't mean like say, oh, it's completely fine, I forgive you, and then not learn from your mistakes. No, I'm saying learn from your mistakes, but don't let this resentment hold you back. Does that make sense? Don't let this sort of like feeling of the past hold you back. Same thing with Gandhi. He experienced so much trauma in his life and so much injustice, and it was a person like it was a big person to speak out about things. And when things weren't right, what he did, when things weren't right, when things weren't were completely unjust and unfair, what he did is he basically went on a hunger strike, and the whole of that country, the whole of India, I think at the time, wanted him to stop the hunger strike, because he knew he basically wanted to eat, yes, people did things unfair, yes, like it was loads of things were unjust, but he didn't want to hurt the people that were unjust to him. He didn't want to say bad things to those people that were unjust to him. There was this story, I'm just thinking about this right now, that I remember hearing with Gandhi, is that this man, because the big thing was about religion back then, big thing, and this man, I think, killed this the mother and father, or like just the father of this family who had a different religion, and so he killed this person. But then the kids, there was a still really young kid there, like a 4 or 5 year old kid that he had to look after. So he went to Gandhi, and he said, "Look, this is what I've done. I've murdered this family, and this is what's left. What shall I do?" And he said, basically, I'm so sorry, but repent for my sins. I can't remember the exact language he used for his religion. But basically, what Gandhi said, he said, you are going to raise this boy the religion he was born into. That's your punishment. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's your punishment. You have to raise this boy in the religion that he was born into. Even though that wasn't this man's religion, it wasn't Gandhi's religion. But you have to raise this person in that. Does that make sense? So it's all about, yes, bad things happen to you, but the only way of properly moving forward is don't act in anger. Don't act in anger. Yes, you can feel. Yes, you can feel these things, but if you let, for example, you can feel angry, you can feel upset, you can feel annoyed, you can feel fearful. But if you let that control your actions, a lot of times we're not as good as the people who done these things to us. Because I really want us, when I say the word forgive, I don't mean saying, oh, it's completely fine, I forgive you. I mean, don't hold the resentment. Because what resentment is, resentment is like drinking poison and expecting your enemies to die. That's what resentment is. That's what basically, you know what I mean? Like, I can't use the right language, can't think of the right language. But when you hate someone so much, you just want the worst for them because they've done something really mean to you, and you know this person's absolutely awful. Keeping and holding those emotions is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. The only person you're damaging is yourself. Every time you feel negative emotions toward this person, the only person you're damaging is yourself. Okay, and I think, like, for example, me growing up, I had a really good role model, my mum, because there are loads of things that would happen. For example, like mum and dad aren't together, and at the divorce time, it was ugly. It was ugly. I remember my mum was not in the right state of mind at all. She was shouting at us a lot. And it was just like during this time period. And it was really interesting. Now, my mum and dad are really good friends. Now, but this is like after years and years and years of really bad stuff happening. And it wasn't years and years, it was about a couple of years of really bad stuff happening. And then what mum really showed me an example is, you shouldn't let things stop you. Yes, you've done these things. Yes, you've done maybe, if you look back at it, these are really unforgivable things. And you said at that time, I'll never forgive you. And yes, you don't have to forgive that person. But you don't have to let it hold resentment for that person. There's no use in hating someone. There's no use spending time and energy in hating someone. Yes, you can feel, but if you let that control your actions, let that control your whole focus, then don't. Then you're only hurting yourself. So I want to speak to the people, tell you a little kind of like a framework for why we hold resentment. why we hate the past experience. Maybe you don't hold resentment for a particular person. Maybe it was a situation. Everyone laughed at you in class. This happened then. And basically, how it works, we have our environment. We're born in our environment, yes, the culture we live in, all that, the school we go to, our parents, our environment. And then we don't control our environment, then we have our experiences. Now, oftentimes we can have negative experiences that happen that we hold resentment for. This person done this. That person done this. These people laughed at me. This teacher said this thing to me. And then we hold resentment. And from that resentment, for example, from that situation, and then we create a meaning for what that means. This means this person is awful. It means people are like this. This means I'm like that. And it's that cycle of what things mean to us dictate what we believe, and oftentimes it can be, in what I'm talking about right now, is negative experiences when we're hating people, when we're blaming and pointing fingers at other people, okay? Because I think it's really critical to understand and just really let go of all that rubbish that was happening in the past. And also, one big thing, like, for example, like, be proud to be dyslexic, because oftentimes we have an education of dyslexia that's false. Education about what dyslexia is, that's bad, because as we say, it's a disability, it's a learning disability. It's not. It's absolutely amazing, but we can be put in an environment that's bad. So what I'm going to cover here is basically a quick strategy that you can follow to help you really moving forward in your life without letting anything hold you back, all these negative experiences hold you get back. And by the way, guys, I'll talk a lot more tools and things like that of how to actually do this. Like, for example, you have a big negative experiences. How can we get rid of it? Yeah. So anyway, the strategy of basically forgiving your enemies, forgiving them the rubbish things that was happening in the past. So step number one, notice the people that done massively wrong on the situations, and let them go. Let all the weight go. Okay. See the past. Yeah, and notice the hold. Step number one, notice these things about you want to forgive them. And oftentimes it's hard, okay? And notice that. And step number two is notice that all you are doing is holding resentment is hurting yourself. All you're doing when you hold resentment is hurting yourself, okay? And really, just decide to let go. Decide that life's too short. There's no value for you to holding this resentment. There's no value to holding this negative emotion moving forward. Okay, guys, I hope we really understood that and made sense to us. And later on, we'll talk about more stories about this and little techniques on how to do this. I think would be really, really cool in really moving forward and redefining what our dyslexia is. All right, guys, take care, farewell, and bye.